Hi guys, this is frigging painful. Watching Nigel Farage constantly be given a platform where he can criticise society and the public sector while at the same time never answer any questions related to his role in undermining society and the fact that his pet project resulted in an economic decline. So the Reform UK leader appeared on the Laura Kuenssberg show where he called for the formation of a DOGE in the UK, the scam that Elon Musk is currently running, and how productivity in the public sector needs to increase. Yes, because a privately educated former city trader who convinced 17.4 million people to vote against their own interests is the right person to reform the public sector. Have a listen to this.
I've looked at the numbers. We did thousands of FOI requests to have a look at where money was being spent. I'm going to say this. We probably need a DOGE for every single county council in England.
Like
just
Elon Musk
looking.
slashing bureau.
Yeah, I mean, quite why Lancashire County Council spent £500,000 on ergonomic chairs for their staff, I don't know. Quite why up to a third of council staff almost never come to the office, I don't know. So, by the way, I do accept.
These are distractions. This is not about dealing with the problems facing councils. I'll get to the real problem facing councils in a moment. But this is what Nigel Farage is doing here. Distracting the public. Talking about chairs. Talking about the salaries. And are the salaries a problem? Yes, they're a problem, but that's not the main problem. We'll get to the main problem in just a moment. And how Nigel Farage has fed into that problem.
That with social care, with SEND children, with less money from central government, I do accept that it's been very tough for county
And actually,
councils.
if you look at the numbers...
the culture hasn't changed within them.
But culture is one thing. Hard costs and hard cash is another. And if you look properly at how local councils spend their money, nearly 80% of it is on education, police, children and adults, social care. And the vast majority of it does not go on things like ergonomic chairs in the office. There are serious shortages. So I'd ask you again, if you manage to take control of councils, any council around the country, on principle, would you raise council tax or would you just look to cut back services still further?
Not cutting back services, cutting back the excess.
It was explained to him that over 80% go on stuff like policing, schools, and social care. 65%. Just think about that. 65% of council budgets in England go on social care. And what is Nigel Farage talking about? People working from home, ergonomic chairs, salaries, when the real issue is social care. Now, what's the problem with Nigel Farage when it comes to social care? Well, what are the problems facing social care? Apart from a lack of funding, and we've yet to hear him talk about increasing funding for councils. He's talking about cutting the waste, as he describes it, when there's an actual underfunding problem. Another problem, of course, is a workforce shortage. Now, why is there a workforce shortage? Because of people like Nigel Farage who say we need to bring down immigration. Immigration is the problem. We bring down immigration, this will solve all our problems. The social care sector is having problems recruiting and retaining staff. Low pay and poor working conditions. Nigel Farage is not going to resolve that. He's not of the idea of increasing wages. He's not of the idea of strengthening worker protections. He's not of the idea of bringing in workers from abroad to solve these problems. He'll say we need to have a net zero immigration system. But when it comes to social care, you need to bring people in, you need to pay them decent wages, and you need to allow them to bring their families with them as well. This is something that Nigel Farage is, of course, against. There's an aging population. This means there's more cost for social care. Councils are responsible for social care, so their budgets are getting tighter and tighter because the population is getting older, more stress on social services, on social care, sorry. So councils need more money, they need more resources, and what is Nigel Farage talking about? Ergonomic chairs and the salaries of a few civil servants.
And increasing the productivity of staff. One of the biggest problems in this country is the lack of productivity in our public sector. Private sector too, but public sector in particular. And the whole work from home culture, all that needs to go. There are a lot of people working for these councils earning more money than the Prime Minister and not delivering.
But if you look at how councils actually spend their money, the vast majority is not on admin costs or other places where you might be able to make efficiencies, perhaps you might be able to do that. But the vast majority is spent on services on which our viewers rely. So I'll give it another try.
I tell you what, I'm very
anywhere.
concerned. I mean, take potholes, for example, another massive area for local government.
Potholes. We're talking about social care. 65% of the council budgets is going on social care. And he's talking about potholes. Potholes. See, Farage wants to focus on the things that people see. You don't see social care unless you're involved in it, unless you're looking after somebody, unless you're working in that sector, unless you're working in the NHS. You don't see the cost of social care. But it's massive. Councils are spending huge amounts of money on it. Their budgets are tighter every year. And the money available to spend on social care is obviously going down because they have to spend on other things as well. And what is Farage's solution? Well, we're going to cut the waste, or we're going to focus on potholes. He doesn't care. And what you need is politicians journalists who will push back on this. For too long, this guy is able to rattle off his talking points. Too much immigration. We'll bring down immigration, it'll fix our problems. Talking about the problems facing councils. Can you imagine if Reform UK take control of councils? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to cut public services. They're not going to, and they're going to talk about how, well, we're getting rid of DEI, or we're getting rid of equality stuff, or we're going to get rid of ergonomic chairs, or we're going to get rid of this, that, and the other. And they're going to cut public services. That's their goal. They don't care about social care. Nigel Farage has just mentioned social care, but he hasn't described what his party would do if they were running a council. People are going to elect Reform UK councillors and MPs in the future to do a job, but they're not there to do a job. It's just to empower Nigel Farage, to give him influence. This was raised before when it came to Wales. The Welsh elections coming up. Reform UK are probably going to do very well. Are they actually going to improve services in Wales? Of course not, because that's not their goal. What needs to happen is there needs to be a pushback on politicians like this. Unfortunately, it's not happening. Laura Kuenssberg raised the point about, 85% or 80% of the cost councils face is on policing, social services, education, and Farage didn't really respond to that. Because he knows that's not something sexy. It's not something that's going to grab people's attention. Potholes attract people's attention. It's like Brexit once again, where the Conservatives were focusing on fishing and not on the real economy. It's all about distracting the public. And unfortunately, until journalists actually take their job seriously, it's going to continue.